Welcome to Cocktails Over Coffee, a podcast that spotlights truly inspiring individuals that have taken a leap of faith by leaving their corporate careers, otherwise known as their coffee, to pursue their passion, otherwise known as their cocktail. I'm Janae Green, and I'm so excited to be here today with wellness entrepreneurs Justin and Alyse. So thank you so much for being here today, Justin and Alyse. How are you guys?
We're doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk to you guys and talk a little bit about Own It. But before we get into all of that, let's start from the very beginning. What both of you individually were doing in your 9-to-5s.
Yeah, absolutely. Alyse, take it away. You lead.
Yeah, sure. So I came from the fashion world. I had worked on the buying side for almost 12 years. From the age of 13, I knew I wanted to be a buyer living in New York City and set on with that goal and ended up accomplishing it much faster than I thought I would actually. I most recently was an executive at Christian Louboutin. And, it was probably one of the most fun jobs I've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for any fashion girl, that's a dream job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was, I look back at my 13-year-old self, and it is her dream job.
Yeah.
And it was when I got to the point of past all the glitz and the glam and the travel and the going to Paris every other month, which are amazing things, I found myself actually not being as fulfilled as I thought I would be.
Yeah.
I had achieved that goal, and I was realizing for myself I needed to figure out what my new goal would be. So for the last couple of years, I've definitely done some soul searching.
Yeah.
Figure out what the next thing would be, and I'm not going to reveal that yet before adjusting this to talk. But
yes.
Ultimately, I have certainly found that, and I have found that with my partner.
Awesome. And what about you, Justin? What world did you come from?
So I came from. Alyse came from the beauty and glitz and glam, and I came from the rugged, hard-nosed sport of hockey.
Down and dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was born and raised in Canada, came down and originally was playing, and then switched from my playing to my coaching career after a brief stint of pro hockey, and started coaching, and in the coaching in the performance space. So more about how do you maximize your recovery levels and your strength levels and your nutrition and your energy. And ultimately, when it came time to play the game, that guys were ready to go. And so worked my way all the way through up to the National Hockey League. And,
wow, that's impressive.
With 3 different teams over the course of 8 years, and spent some time in the NCAA as well with a couple different programs, and really kind of started to hone my craft and my expertise on performance analytics and using data to individualize a plan for everybody.
Okay.
And it very quickly, just as Alyse said, being under the thumb of a organization, under a league, under a team, under an ownership group.
Yeah.
It very quickly over that time period became something that I wanted to be able to touch more people. I wanted to be able to affect more people, have more of an influence, have more of an impact.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was a little bit stunted in that way. And so left, and Alyse and I were doing long distance for about 2.5 years in New York City, and I really dove in, and what opened up my eyes to that, what the work that I was doing was also able to serve a need for people in the entrepreneurial and executive leadership space. Was that when I was out in Anaheim, it was actually a very, very good business owner, was the owner of the New York Islanders, came out and he goes, you know what you're doing is amazing. Like, I would want to go through that. And it opened up my eyes to, you know what, the problem we were solving for these NHL players and now other professional athletes that I work with also serves entrepreneurs and executives,
right,
and make sure that they are on and can create a longevity within their health and wellness and perform on a day-to-day basis. And so that was really the catalyst to transition for myself out of what I was doing, and still doing the same thing, but just in a different way.
Yeah. So individually, you both had these dream jobs in your own areas, like working for Christian Louboutin, working in the NHL. Like, it's like these are areas that people dream about. So what made you decide that it was actually time to leave? You know, a lot of people, they decide to do a little something on the side, whether it's like a side hustle. You know, what made you decide that this is actually something that you want to leave your dream jobs and pursue full time?
Our stories actually exactly replicate our personalities. And I'll Justin will go into his first. But yeah, it was completely different, and ultimately it ended up aligning in a really good timing.
So for myself, I was challenged in a way and asked to compromise my values. And that was kind of what really pushed me to the edge of saying, you know what, I want to have a bigger impact. I want to do things in a way that really aligns more with my values. And when I say I was challenged, I was brought into an office and told either, hey, you're going to align with us, the team, or you're going to choose to align with the player. And I really had a hard time understanding that, because theoretically, aren't we on the same team?
Right.
And when I was forced to choose, I will choose the player every day of the week. That is who I work for. Although the team pays me, I work for the player. That is what I'm trying to do, is optimize that player. So if that player is optimized, they're going to be better for that team. And so it was when I made that choice, I lost my job. I got fired, and it was overnight. And there was opportunity with other teams. There was opportunity to immediately, as soon as the next day, as soon as people heard what went on, there was opportunities to go to different teams. And I was like, you know what, I don't want to go back into that space, because my values mean more to me than a title, a place. The talent and what it is that we do, which is very unique, is needed in a lot of different places. And so a lot of athletes followed me. A lot of athletes, I still work with a multitude of them, but for me, it was overnight.
Yeah.
I had a job one day and I didn't the next. And I was fortunate enough that my run-in with this certain executive was about 12 months prior to me leaving the NHL. And I had those 12 months to kind of get an understanding and get a feeling, have a comfort level for implementing this in a different realm and in a unique way. But for me, it was overnight.
Wow. And what about you, Alyse? Did you think that this was something that you were going to want to leave and pursue full time, or did it kind of just happen?
No, definitely not. So I knew probably 3.5, 4 years ago that I was going to be moving on to something else. I had no idea what it was.
Okay. So that long ago, it wasn't like, okay.
Yes. But the reason why I say it reflects our personalities, Justin is an action taker.
Yes.
And sometimes doesn't always think things through, which ultimately ends up being really positive.
You need that sometimes.
Yeah, whereas I tend to really overthink things.
Yeah, and plan.
Years, I overthink things.
Yes.
But I overthought things. But anyways, it was, I explored everything under the sun, from being a wine sommelier to, I did explore other retail positions.
Okay.
Thought I wanted to potentially move to California, to live in Napa and Sonoma. What else?
The hospitality space.
Oh my gosh.
I thought about opening a restaurant.
Well, so you were really exploring. You were kind of open, but you just knew you weren't fulfilled in what you were doing.
Yeah.
The amount of times that you called people to just even learn and pick their brains about what they did, it was every time we would go and do something. Oh, how did you get into this? How did you get into this?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So you were looking for that one thing that just like spoke to you, and you were open to exploring.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, when probably about 6 months after Justin started to talk about Own It, started to create the brand, and it's completely different than when it was on day one.
Yeah.
I actually did some coaching with him.
Okay.
And came to a position. He had no attachment to what it was. He just wanted to help me figure out what my thing was.
Yeah.
And I had found this coaching program about a mindset coaching program, and it was about a year-long program, and I decided to do that. And
okay, cool.
Making the decision to do that and opt into that completely changed my life, my outlook on the world. And
so what did that entail? What was that like, going through that program?
The coaching program?
Yeah.
So it was a highly self-introspective program where you really explore, you start with yourself, you explore your values, your mission, you establish all of those types of things up front, and then you build your career path around it.
So interesting.
The type of coach, and it's by far the most robust coaching program out there.
Yeah.
But it allows you to coach anybody on anything.
Wow.
And it's really, really interesting, and it just completely resonated with me. And I am now able to really help people face any inner blocks that they may have, and then find ways to put action and accountability to be able to move forward.
Amazing. So that ultimately kind of helped you figure out what was going to be next for you.
Exactly. And, and sitting down with Justin and talking about Own It, he was doing more of the wellness side of things, the fitness, nutrition. Yeah. We ended up finding like this perfect combo of how it fits in together.
Yeah.
And it's called the energy equation. He focuses on outer energy and I focus on inner energy. And that's essentially what Own It is to help people, particularly executives and entrepreneurs, run their life like a business.
Yeah. So Justin, after you got fired, what were first steps? What was the first thing that you did?
Yeah, so the first thing was sheer panic.
Yeah, of course.
And then probably a bottle of tequila.
Yeah, wash it away.
I did enjoy a couple margaritas on the beach.
Okay.
So, but no, to be honest, it was something that I had. If you think back to it, I still remember. I called Alyse and I just told her, I think. I was placed under official suspension first because and then it was just a couple days later that it was announced. But it was. I told her, I said, I think I'm going to get fired. And when I first said it, it really didn't sink in.
Yeah.
But like as Lee said, I'm an action taker, and I would never. ESPN has done a documentary on it since, and it was really over.
Wow.
It was really over the use of opiates, the use of
interesting
painkillers for athletes,
yeah.
And I was against it. I was trying to educate in different ways for different ways in which athletes can help that, not prescribing, not giving, just simply educating.
Yeah.
And, which is really trying to push the field forward in a lot of different ways. And they didn't like the education. They didn't like the forward thinking. They didn't like a lot of those things, even though it was done in accordance with doctors, ATs, everything else.
Right.
In their lane, as they say. But it was just a topic that was brought up that they had a problem with. And so
they just didn't agree with it.
I would have, exactly. And I would have done the same thing. I'm asked that thing all the time. On the documentary, they said, would you do it again? I said, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I wouldn't think twice about doing something else.
Yeah.
And after that happened, I got immediately into really Own It. I started to formulate the system and the process. Now, did I go down some different roads that closed on me? 100%.
Yeah.
But I had the idea of what I wanted it to be. Did I know how I was going to do it yet? No, I had no idea.
Right.
But I tried a lot of the things. I experimented with a lot of things. I came out to New York City, started working at a gym with celebrities, CEOs. It's called Dog Pound. And
yes.
I left there. And then that just wasn't my fit. It wasn't me again.
Yeah.
And I needed something else. And so I continued to kind of go then on my own. And it really became getting outside help, getting outside eyes on what I wanted to do, on what my vision was, because I had my vision so clear.
Yeah.
What it was that I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what it consisted of, what steps to take.
Right,
and
exactly.
Hired a business coach, talked to a lot of mentors, and lo and behold, within 4 months, it was a 6-figure business.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it scaled very quickly because the bread and butter and the individualization and the difference between any other wellness program, any other fitness program, any other self-development, personal development program is that everything that we do is data-driven. Everything we do is personalized. Everything we do is individualized. And something we like to always say is, Alyse said it, is run your life like your business.
Yes.
You have a personal life P&L. You have data, metrics that we go off of, everything from DNA testing when we start to constant tracker to track sleep, circadian rhythm, HRV, recovery, strain, stress.
Wow.
And because we have that DNA test, because we have the epigenetic test, we know where we can get the biggest bang for our buck.
Yeah.
And people spend years. One of, again, my business coaches, Craig Valentine, he's spent his life work, over 20 years of work developing his morning routine. And that's now what he sells, but it's his morning routine.
Yes. Yeah.
So how do we create that for everybody else? Well, the only way to do it is through data, feedback, analytics, and then adjust again. And that is why everything that we do, from the mindset to the physical aspect, is so tangible. It's something you can touch. It's measurable. Yeah. And that is what makes it so special. That's what makes it so different, because it's something that, given where you are today, it's not going to be the same tomorrow. So we can start to just adjust and make little dial touches. And one of the best examples I think we can give is, especially to entrepreneurs, is if you're running ads for something. Yeah. What are you looking at? What's the information you're getting back? Well, number of click-through rates, number of engagements, number of clients brought on, whatever it may be. Yeah. Well, if you're running an ad and it's getting no clicks, it's getting no interaction, no engagement, no nothing. Yeah. But you continue to do ad spend on it, why are you doing that? Well, just because everybody else is doing it. Would you ever do that? Absolutely not. No, yeah. Why do we do that with our bodies? Why do we do that with our minds? Where I'm just doing the same supplement routine as X person. I'm having the same juice every morning. I'm having the same exercise routine. I'm having the same sleep routine, but I'm tired. I'm sick all the time. I can't lose the weight. I'm not going after my dreams. I'm regretful all the time. I'm getting in arguments. I'm short-tempered. All of these things that they're signs that something's not right. Yes. We continue to do the same thing because we don't know any different. Right. But once we have data, we have technology, once we have things that can help drive us, and a coach and a system to implement it. Yeah. And a team of coaches, for that matter, to implement it. Yeah. It completely changes. Yeah. You start to see results. Changes in as fast as a week. Yeah. So how soon so you had the idea, and then when did the name Own It become attached to this business? Where did that come from?
Oh, that was immediately.
Really?
That was before it was before we even knew what the business was going to be.
Wow. Okay. So why?
You tell the story.
I don't know the story.
Well, okay. So Alyse doesn't know the story, but she's
I have an idea of it, but I wouldn't be able to just tell the story.
She's the catalyst of it. And so.
I don't know that.
Yeah. The thing is there was something that whenever I was doing something, and through our entire relationship, it always came back to, and this was a lot of my self-development. And in the book, Own It, I think I've sent you a copy, and it kind of talks about some of the stories of things that I've just been through. And we all have these feelings where something happens and we blame something else, or we look for a different way out. Yes. But the moment you own it, the moment you look at in the mirror and actually own it. That's the moment you take the power back. That's the moment that you take back control. And Alyse would always say to me, for small things or big things, whatever it was, is just own it. Just own it.
So you were the inspiration behind the name.
And so
I do say that. I would say that a lot to him.
You have to own it.
Just own it.
Just own
it.
And it resonated so heavily because everything that we do, especially everything we do in our lives, the moment you choose to own it is the moment you take control back.
Yeah.
With the way that we do things, you're owning your data. You're owning your life. You are owning who you are.
Yeah.
In every aspect, because now you have that control. You have the information and you own it.
Yes.
Now we can create change.
Amazing. So then with the data that's attached to it, because neither of you came from like a tech background, how did you get that to work with the idea that you had?
So Justin's always been really, you were kind of a pioneer in your industry in terms of data measurement.
Yeah, so if you look at sport now, the sport data analytics, they're very, very prevalent.
Yeah.
I broke into the space in 2011, and you would never find a heart rate monitor in a locker room. You would never find a GPS monitor in a locker room.
Yeah.
Well, that was what I remember the GPS monitors I was putting on guys. They were about the size of your cell phone. We had them put in their pants or on their shoulder pads. We had to sew them in real different.
Really?
Oh yeah, just to get little pieces of information in which I could start creating algorithmic analysis based upon distance traveled and something that worked in the stats and the R values of what was actually relevant to what we were trying to do. Heart rate monitors on guys and all these things. Well, now they're little gadgets that just flip onto something and they're nice and pretty. And so I kind of blazed the trail for what it is now with a lot of other high-end people. And Devin McConnell, who's still the director of sports performance for the New Jersey Devils, wrote a book together called Intent. And so to answer your question, I've always been into the technology side. And it's always interested me because there's always needed to be more.
Everything can always be improved.
And that's in everything that everybody's giving you. It's the guru's game.
Yeah.
They've figured it out what works for them. But why does that work for me?
Right.
I want to know. And even when I was playing, I was doing all these things on myself. I was wearing little clips on my head at night to sleep, to track my brain waves at night, to see how to optimize how I slept.
And this was before any of those devices. So this was you just doing it out of curiosity for how your body.
Curiosity. Like this goes back now to 2007, 2008.
Oh my! Oh, that's wild. That's a lot. That's way before these fitness trackers.
Oh yeah, this is now something nice. I had a rusty wire I was attaching to my temple.
My gosh.
A pulse oximeter that I would wear on my finger to sleep, and
oh my gosh.
That's kind of how I started getting into it and having that interest just for myself. And it's now parlayed into something that it's second nature to me, that now we have all these fancy tools and gadgets that from the simple DNA spit test that we have to the Whoop band in which we use, and Alyse's ELI and different tests for inner energy and things that were usually so intangible. But now you get something quantifiable that you can measure and actually make fast, actionable changes on.
Yeah. So how did you get this business to grow? I mean, within 4 months, you said, turned into a 6-figure business. That's insane. And if I'm not mistaken, this happened also during quarantine, during the pandemic, correct?
That was actually a big reason why we were able to grow it so quickly.
Tell me about that whole experience. I mean, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it was a difficult, really difficult experience, because at that point, Justin was working with a lot of the clients in person. You know, when you move to an in-person to a virtual setting,
yes,
you know, there was actually a lot of fallout from in-person clients who didn't want to do things virtually. And now 100% of our businesses run virtually.
Yeah,
We actually don't do any in-person sessions at all. And it's just become second nature. And through that transition, it allowed us to be more flexible in the way that we work. It allowed us to be more available to our clients.
Yes.
And we rethought the entire business. We really went back to the drawing board and said, this isn't working. First of all, it's not efficient. It wasn't efficient the way that we were working.
When you were doing it in person.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And now it's much more efficient, much more streamlined. And the time that we were spent, going to see a client, we can now spend with the clients themselves.
Yes. So then what's that relationship like? As a client, if I were to want to take advantage of this business and this service, what is that experience like for me?
Yeah. Great question. So what would happen is you would sign up, and we would you'd get a package going out to you day one, which has your DNA kit, your epigenetic kit, which gives us your biological versus chronological age.
Wow.
You get your root band. You get a little note from Alyse and I. You get your Own It gear, and you get your app login.
Okay.
And at that point, you would hop onto a onboarding call with myself.
Okay.
And we'd get your DNA test done. That gets sent away. From there, we get your Whoop band set up, and we get you into the big group. From there, we get you personalized into the app so that we get your morning and night routine kind of set, and so we can start getting data coming in. So how are you sleeping? How are you handling stress? How are you, what are your strain and recoveries look like on a day-to-day basis? And we get some preliminary data. We really haven't created any change yet. Just trying to see where we're at. Take a look at your nutritional habits, that type of thing, and build out what our goal is. So every single day there's yoga, meditation, workout options, and different soft tissue aspects for recovery, and things that we'll talk about. But again, no prescription, just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
After that first call, Alyse sends out an ELI, and I'll let her go into kind of what that's all about.
Yeah, so a big piece of the onboarding is to also go through the what we call the 7 levels of energy.
Yes.
And there's an assessment that we have that measures the percentage of time that one person may resonate in each level. So that's a really good jumping off basis to see how a client may react to certain situations. Are they showing up in a more stress-related way than non-stress-related way? And we also set goals around what they want to achieve. What are things that aren't as necessarily as tangible as getting 8 hours of sleep a night?
Yes.
But what are those things? For example, is it, a client who is highly avoidant of things because they had something terrible happen to them in their life, and now they are avoidance based.
Yeah.
And simple things like catching up on emails is tough for them.
Right.
So that could be a goal, right? And through that, we're able to then measure from the beginning of the program to the end of the program, through that assessment where they are on day one, and then where they are leaving the program. And there isn't a single case where somebody leaves lower than where they came.
Amazing.
And then as soon as they're done that, we get into the DNA. And we start giving prescription based.
Yeah.
And now that we have the baseline for where you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we also have a baseline of where you are physically and biologically.
Yeah.
And from there, it becomes little tweaking, little turns, and it starts like this, and it's like you get on a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Energy levels rise. You start to see goals, whatever it is for individual people. Some people it's, I want to get off my medication. Some people it's, I want to get just more energy out. Some people I want to be able to be more clear day to day.
Yeah.
Some I want to increase my immune function. Some people it's, I'm sick 6 times a year. I want to be sick none. And all of these results are able to happen. It's just have to get clear on what it is for you.
Yeah.
If it's weight loss, if it's muscle gain, and again, it can be so simple as that.
Yeah.
But yet we wait for so long for results.
Right.
Why can't we get it now? Time is money for a lot of these things. And we want to run your life like your business, because we wouldn't want to wait 6 months and just realize, what we were doing wasn't really working.
Right.
So in terms of the steps throughout Own It, as you know, as you asked, if you were to come in as a client, there's the onboarding process, which we described, really the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then from there, there's an hour session a week, rotating back and forth, one with Justin, one with myself.
Okay.
Week. And you have an allotted time slot. And then we also do 4 live workouts a week.
Awesome.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So we have a big community there. And then there's, we have a lot of community forums that we have a very, very active community.
Awesome.
And then, as we go through, we just make sure that we're touching in on those goals. Justin and I are very communicative about clients. So whatever one says to Justin, it's open between Justin, myself, and the client.
Yeah.
So that we can do the best, help get them to the best place that they want to be. And every conversation we have is very goal oriented. We always bring in ways to measure where they're at from when they start to where they're at, when they leave, and what their goals are, and set them up for success throughout the week.
Again, it all goes back to being able to have the client take massive action and have the ability to do so. We have clients that actually don't participate in our live workouts or the workout prescription that we do, because they have personal trainers that they've loved forever, but they haven't been able to get the results they've wanted, or they have certain routines that they just love, that they want to do. That's great. You should keep those.
Yes.
But what they want to do is they want to know how to take that next step. We have extreme high performers in our community. People who are operating at they already do the juicing. They feel great on it. They've been taking supplements for a long time. They've done so many different personal health and self-development seminars, but they haven't been able to take action on things.
Yes.
Or they feel like they're wanting to level up in a whole nother way. And that's with Alyse and I being able to give that data, that feedback, that quantifiable information that somebody, because our target client is CEOs and executives, they love the tangible and measurable aspects of it, because they can see it, they can taste it, they can touch it. Yes. And they can actually take action on it. They can see, I'm a 42-year-old male, and because of everything I've been going through, I'm actually living in a 54-year-old's body.
Wow.
Because I can look at my DNA analysis, and Justin's given me this prescription based upon it, and with the data that I'm looking at and the stress management pieces that Alyse has looked at based upon where I resonate, typically, in 4 months when we do the epigenetic test again, that same 42-year-old male goes, wow, I'm now living in a 46-year-old body. So I've gained 7 years off of my life. Imagine what would happen when all of a sudden you're 55 and now you're living in a 49-year-old's body, and you've now gained time. You feel younger. You feel you have more vitality, you have more energy, you have more clarity.
Yes.
You have all these things that you're looking for, and you don't feel bogged down by that early aging that a lot of us are doing because of the stress, because of our habits, because of all these things that we tend to just slide into.
For someone who is using a different fitness program or working with a trainer, a nutritionist, or a life coach, what sets Own It apart from what's currently out there in the market?
So the biggest thing is measurability, is the fact that we are able to place tangible metrics on everything that we do.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we are all completely on the same page in terms of what the goals are.
Yes.
That's the number one thing. The second thing is the individualization, the personalization piece of it.
Right.
Is that we take clients as they are. We meet clients where they are on day one.
Yeah.
And together we create really strong, achievable, but big goals.
Yes.
And have a really strong support system of how to get them there within the time that they decide to be with us.
Yeah.
We're not putting them through something that's predetermined. It's not a cookie cutter that this is what you need to fix. It's that we build that relationship.
Yes.
And that personalization, like Alyse said, which is just, it's something that is extremely lacking, and something that we really, really pride ourselves on.
Incredible. And how do you see the brand evolving?
Good question. I think that Justin and I have been putting a lot of thought into. We know that there are two key pieces that is very core to our DNA.
Yeah.
First being the personalization, second being the measurability metrics piece of it. You know, we are working on scaling up in a big way. You know, we're super clear on who it is that we're talking to.
Yes.
One of the newest things that we're launching in a little bit less than a month now, it's called the Couples Academy.
Amazing.
And you know, it's a free 3-week program starting December 1st.
Awesome.
And we ask, it's an express version of Own It. And it's individualized to you, but we ask is for you to show up with your partner so that you go through
awesome.
it together. So we're not relationship coaches. We're not going to help you fix your relationship. We do actually, we do have, Justin and I do have a relationship coach who's part of it and doing one of the sessions.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's about coming as you are, getting super clear on what your vision and your mission is.
Yeah.
And then creating actionable steps to move that forward. And in terms of the future of Own It, I think it will continue to be those types of things. You know, we have a big mastermind plan for next year that we really have a pretty big audience for, quite a lot of interest. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is continuing to do what we're doing because it has impacted hundreds of thousands of people already. And we don't see that changing.
Incredible. And so tell me more about this free program that you're offering, and it's 3 weeks long. So like what's the time commitment? Like what can people expect if they want to take advantage of this as an intro to Own It?
Yeah, absolutely. So it would be, it's a total investment of 6 hours. That's all it is.
Wow. Okay.
Where it's Tuesday, Thursday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And every session will be recorded. So if you're like, can't make one, no problem. Everything will be recorded. It'll be stored. There's a workbook we're going to go through. A couple of celebrity guests will come through, prizes, giveaways. But more specifically, that when you leave out of these 6 weeks, these 6 sessions, you will have a clear vision and action plan for what 2021 looks like. You'll have a clear mission and vision for what you want to accomplish and how you want to get there. You will have an understanding on the data, the metrics, and how you can utilize that for yourself from both your inner and outer energies for how you can take action and create tangible results that you maybe haven't been able to thus far in 2020 or even leading up to this point.
Yeah.
And you will also have your partner there with you, right alongside you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily having the same mission or vision or goals,
right?
But having an understanding of the other one and an openness towards your partner's goals, and and a built-in support system from day one.
I love that. And so, speaking for the single people out there, if someone was single and wanted to take advantage of this, could they?
100%.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
And a lot of times, what we're thinking about there is a mother, a daughter, a father, a best friend, a sibling.
Yes.
We always we call it leveling up with your loved ones. So whether it's somebody else in your family, or a best friend, or roommate, or
it's like an accountability partner.
Exactly. Somebody that will positively support you towards.
I love that. So how can people sign up for this? Where can they go to find more information?
So we have a tab on our website. Our website is justownit.co.
Okay.
And there's a tab on there called the Couples Academy.
Okay.
And there's a couple places where you can click to join. And all you do is put your name, email address in there. That's really all we need from you.
Yeah.
And then, we will, a couple days before, we'll start to send you all the information for the program. And then on December 1st.
That is awesome. I feel like that's honestly what so many people need ending out this year that's been the craziest year of many people's lives. Just kind of a fresh start for 2021, a new perspective, maybe new goals. A lot of people are kind of doing a pivot this year. They're switching career paths. They're pursuing something new. Some by choice, some have been forced into it by being let go. So I think this is a really, really great way to kind of end this year, but also get ready for next year. So I hope that a lot of people take advantage of this.
No, it's such a great point, Jenna, and that's kind of why, what inspired Alyse and I to do this was give people new hope, and not wait until January 1st to say, I'll start this then, or I'll do this later, but instead actually diving in today.
Yes.
Diving in, saying, I'm going to do the work now.
Yep.
So that, again, I use a sports analogy. Right? You see these teams that go on these rolls, and where does it start? It all starts with that first win.
Yeah.
And you carry the momentum over and over and over again. So let's get you a big, hard, solid win.
I love that.
In December, in a year that's just been
crazy.
Yeah. And get you that momentum going into the new year, so 2021 can really be that year of change that you're looking for.
That's amazing. I love that. I want to take advantage of this program. It sounds like it's just a reset, and I think that a lot of people need that. So thank you for putting this on, especially as a free program to give people an introduction to your brand, because I'm sure that this is also going to generate a lot of new clients for you guys after they kind of see what it's like and what it can do for them.
And again, the only investment is your time. And at the end of the day, for something that is going to bring this type of value, it's you have nothing to lose.
Yeah. So I like to wrap up every show with what I call a shot, which is something small and something strong that you want to pass on. It can be a piece of advice. It can be something that you've learned, something that you want to share. And you each can give your own shots. So what shot do you want to give?
I would say continue growing. Always continue growing.
Yeah.
Don't ever stay complacent. It's very easy in today's day and age to become that way. And if COVID taught us anything, it's that a lot of us were probably a lot more complacent than we thought. Myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Continue to push yourself. Continue to think. Continue to grow. Continue to push those boundaries. Because there's a lot more that you have to give than probably you're even aware of.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Sharon Srivatsa for this one, but
okay.
Another one of Alyse and I are business coach, but we're all a candle, and we can either spend time in our flame, or we can spend time in our wax. And the wax is everything that's kind of just holds us down.
Yeah.
Whereas the flame is what lights us up.
Yes.
And if we can take a look at ourselves and figure out where are we spending our time, and make it to a point that we're spending 80% of our time in our flame,
yes,
life is going to be pretty good.
I love that. I totally agree. You guys have gotten me all motivated and inspired. So thank you so much for your time. I'm sure everyone listening is feeling the same way, and I'm hoping that Own It only continues to grow and evolve, and I know it will, and I can't wait to watch the success that you guys have.
Thank you so much, Janae.